All right, welcome ESA members or just general guests towards our YouTube channel and our quick Splunk demo. So for today, we're going to be covering some of the basics of Splunk. We're going to be searching one of the cities or City of Dallas police data sets just to run some basic searches so you can better understanding of how Splunk works, how to create your own search queries. If you're following along this demo, just follow along. I'm running this on my own Linux server or AWS Linux server. If you have Windows, this is perfectly fine because it's just a front-end portion of it. But I normally suggest towards your students and members to install this on a Linux box. That's what most enterprise environments will use, so you will get familiar with that environment. Don't have your Smoke environment set up, it's perfectly fine. This will be taped, or this is being taped right now, and this is going to be put on our YouTube channel probably in a week or two. So you'll be able to rewatch this replay and then do it at your own pace once you are ready and set to go. But without further ado, we can get started. So this demo should take like maybe 20 minutes at most. It won't take too long. Then we'll have questions afterwards if anybody stays on. So you can go to Google or just gonna type in Dallas City data sets, look at what I put. And it'll be here. And they can type in police or go to active calls. We're gonna be doing active calls. And this is the data set for it already. So you just go to actions or actually export, click download, do CVS, click download. Once that is done, you can head over to your Splunk GUI and quick note. You can download any one of these data sets and play around with it to get better at Splunk. It's up to you. I just don't police data sets because I'm African American male and knowing what the police do in my city is very important towards me. That's just me personally. If you want to do traffic data, school data, they have all that data here, so you can take a look at it. But I just saw police data sets. That's more interesting to me. Anyways, let's go back to Splunk. Again, if you don't have this set up yet, it's perfectly fine. I already do. We're running Splunk 9.0, I believe. So what I did and what you can do is for best practices, I normally create separate indexes for whatever data bucket I'm gonna be creating. We'll call this test data. Click save. We're gonna upload our data set inside this actual index. Again, go to settings, indexes, and you can create a new index and you can put in whatever name you want to. I did test data, which is down here. Go to settings, go to add data, go to upload, select file. And you're going to want to click on your actual police data set, or you can drag it and drop it here. Click next. Oh, I did close it up first. Next. This looks fine. Next. And go to test data. The index should be test data. Click review. These should be what you have. Host maybe looks slightly different. And click submit. Start searching. Perfect. Equals test data. Do all the time, say select n is equal to data, and you should see it. So when you're doing this on your own time, if you're doing this in the future, your data may look different because police data for each month and each week is different, right? Different incidents come up. So just keep that in mind as well. So first things first, this is the Splunk GUI, and this is the search and reporting app. So let's go back, right? The default app you'll use in most cases is search and reporting. So let's go back here, click on it. And we're trying to specify which index you want to search, and we want to search our test data index. That's what holds our data. You need a lot 24 hours because data is pretty new, but as the data ages, you want to do all the time eventually. So let me pull up my questions. So when you're trying to learn Splunk, right? Plan owner of data is one of the biggest things, right? And understanding what your data is and why it's important is incredibly important. So as we tell all our students, you want to make your data tell a story, right? So you want to understand what your data is doing and narrow down that focus lens by lens by lens until you reach the certain point you want to hit. So if our manager wanted to know or get a better sense as to what the police are doing inside the city of Dallas, then we'll try to create search queries to paint a better picture of that and tell that story in a more efficient manner. So one of the questions you may want to ask is, what is the most common type of crime happening in the city of Dallas, right? Right. And to find that out, we'll take a look at the interesting fields, just remember what I do, and try to scan to see which fields would be best suited to garner that information. So, nature call, priority, location. So let's start with the base search, right? We'll do stats count by, and we'll do nature of, let's start. And we want to sort this, so sort by the count. So right off the bat, most common, I guess, type of call that police get in or the past 30 days, I believe the data set is, would be 40/1 to the other. The second most common one is major disturbance, which is violence, and a major incident. Those are the three most common ones. So from here, we could probably start to paint a picture and say, hey, or paint a picture or start to dig deeper and say, hey, what is that major disturbance or this violence? What exactly is happening there? And you could manually call your police department or try to gain more information out of them from that way, right? This is a good starting point to understand as to what exactly is going on. And so what the top three would be, again, 40/1, which I don't know what that is. On major disturbance, which is violence, major accident, other, and minor incident, right? Or requested by fire. This is PD, requested by fire, or police department. So maybe the Cardinal Fire Department, right? Robbery, animal servants. So the next maybe logical question you might want to ask is, all right, so now we have a better sense as to what the most common type of crime is. And then now we want to know where does it happen most often? All right. And so we can go to verbose, go to events. Now let's see, are we able to actually find the location? And we can. So let's do that's count by nature call and let's do location. Remember, inclusion is better than exclusion, right? So make sure your searches are as narrow and specific as possible, and that will speed up the process for you getting better results quicker in a more efficient manner. If you've ever taken any one of our courses, you know this is one of the biggest things we try to preach for search best practices, right? Make your searches more efficient, but that saves on utilization and resources, which is a big cost savings benefit for your firm, which is very important for some platforms, but they are very pricey. So now we have a better sense as to what is the most common type of call, at least, right? And where is the most common location that's happened over the past, I want to say 30 days for this. So 7 times major incident or accident, which I'm not 100% sure what that is. And then this is and Walton Walker Boulevard. So you could basically, and there are map functionalities you can use as well inside of Splunk to map this out, but let's do it manually. Let's see, Google Maps. Excuse me. I live in Dallas. So this is Dallas. See where she's at. This is next towards the highway. Technically an urban, actually. But there's automated ways you can do this inside of Splunk. It's just a manual way to do it. So you want to check out and get a better sense to what's going on. You can do it that way. There's different Mac for functionalities, which I can actually show you really quickly that you can install. So you can install maps for Splunk, and you can get basically the Google Maps API integrated inside of your dashboards when you're building up visualizations, which is very helpful and beneficial. But so there's been 3 accidents in the past 30 days in this intersection on the highway. So I'm guessing probably car accident. And then there's been 2 fires at Ensterman Freeway, Nebraska Avenue, I believe. So you're probably asking yourself, what's the cool kind of why the hell should I care, right? Why is this information important? Again, you're trying to paint a picture, right? If you're a new firm, new retail firm, new retail chain, restaurant, or the case may be, trying to build out locations in Dallas, right? You want to know what you're getting into, right? So you want to get a better sense as to what type of crime, what type of incidents are happening. Are a lot of accidents inside of an area, really a lot of foot traffic, right? So being able to, again, be able to build and tell a story using this data is super important. That's one of the things you want to be able to actually do. So very important to be able to tell a story from that regard and that aspect, right? So you could, so for example, you could probably say, right, there's been a lot of major incidents based off of this intersection on this highway, right? And this happens month after month after month. You might want to be careful about building our restaurant or new retail store right next to this highway because there may be a lot of traffic backed up and that may prevent our customers from getting towards this location, right? And if this is arson, right? For example, in these locations, and we can probably correlate from other data sources as well for future reference. This is happening a lot, then you might want to be careful as to build our store in this area, right? If there's a lot of arson, we don't want to get our store or property damaged. Same with robbery, right? There's a lot of robberies inside of this area for Trinity Mills Road that you might not want to build a store there. So just being able to start to create insights of that is very important, right? And just doing it step by step by step. Okay. Next question we can ask is, what's the highest level of priority on some of these calls? So let's duplicate this. Get rid of this. Let's do, oh, let's just table, type table, priority, if it's spelled correctly. All right, cool. All right. Priority. Oh, and priority should call. And then we can do that should be so quick thing. When you have like a phrase that you're trying to search, make sure it's in quotations, or else it's gonna basically parse that search and it's gonna read it as nature is one field, of is one field, and call is one field. See, there we go. And I don't like the way this looks, so we're gonna move this around. There we go. It looks a lot better, right? Numbers are on the right hand. Verbiage is on the left hand. This looks cleaner. So this is basically we're tabling this data to get a better look at it really quickly. And so now you have a sense as to what the nature of the call is, right? And the priority level for that. So which ones are highest. So you can sort by priority level. Now we get, I don't know what exactly that priority level chain of command is, right? So I don't know if 4 is high or 4 is low and 1 is higher. So let's take a look at it. Let's use some common sense. I'm gonna guess robbery is gonna be higher than more pressing than loud music disturbance, just off the top of my head. Let's just do this. Let's do plus. Let's do ascending. All right. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna guess 1 is highest and 4 is the lowest one, right? Because you have armed encounter with vehicle, right? Animal attack, someone's getting hurt. So these should be the highest, right? And if you want to add in, let's go to events. You can add in block as well. Now you get a better sense as to what exactly blocks this is happening in the city. You can do that as well. Again, to build better context as to what exactly is going on. So these are a couple simple searches you can do to get started off. Then if you want to save this as a dashboard, you can definitely do that as well. So you can go to new dashboard, title, police, you can spell data for Dallas, description, overview of police, the city, Dallas, classical. This will be, you can say priority Can't save my life. Right here too. My glasses there so I can see. I'm an old man at this point in my life. Variety level. By walk. And type of incidents. Say, put me dashboard. Let's see if we can do this as a let me see. Let's see if we can edit this. Still site visualization, one chart. Oh, it's ugly. That's actually let's keep this as no. There we go. Let's keep it as a table. And let's see, can I copy this? And a search. And make some modifications. Or we can create a new panel. So I'm gonna change this into stats. Stats count by nature of walk, priority level, port. All right. Let's see. You can make a decent visualization. Let's okay, we need block. Get rid of block. Yeah, you just have to play around with it to see if you get the best results for your needs. Actually, you don't need nature call either. You can just do this. Already stands on its own 2 feet. So proud. Yep, should work. For example, and now we can save this as some dashboard, data, and we'll say, uh, we'll say number of holes by priority level to dashboard, new dashboard. If you want to edit it, you could change the color scheme. That is your prerogative. You can do stacked. You can say show on, so the value, you can do min and max. Show overlay, legend, it's up to you, right? Clean it up. But this looks pretty good to me so far. Hit save, and then there you go. This is a basic dashboard to get you started with for your smoking experience. And then from there, you can continue to play around with your data set, right? Add extra functionality, install some more apps with it, get a better sense as to where everything is, and you can just go from there. Where did we have it as tested? A couple more questions I might ask, for example, right? Which unit, for example, which unit gets the most high priority incidents, right? How often do they happen? What is the biggest time? What is the biggest time of day that we get incident, for example, right? What area is the biggest one, right? What block is the biggest one for that, right? And what does it beat for that? Those are a couple questions you can get up right at the top. Oh, and which division gets the most highest level of calls, for example, right? Well, those are a couple easy questions you're able to ask to try to figure out and get a better understanding as to what's going on. But this one's just a quick demo I want to show you guys. I don't see anybody in the chat or in the call right now. So that's the case. We'll end it here. Guess any questions about what we do or who we are, feel free to reach out towards me over LinkedIn, our website, schedule a call with me, check out our materials, or talk to any of our members. They're super awesome people. They're always here to help you guys out. So appreciate you guys for showing out. Thanks again. And that's it for today. So stop it, and thanks again, guys.